driven hours to join us today. And welcome internationally, you guys. We are being webcast around the world today. So we welcome all of our international individuals. So my name is Debbie Zito, and I love LifeVantage. You know what, you guys? It literally changed my life. We're going to talk a little bit about biohacking today and why I'm a biohacker. Before we get started, I want to thank everybody. It's lots of time and energy put in this event, so I appreciate all of you so much. I'd also like to welcome all of our biohackers in the audience. If you are with LifeVantage and taking our products, I'd love for you to stand up. Dr. Goodman, I'm going to have you take a picture. Oh, I love it. Okay. Everybody raise your hands and stretch a little bit. Woo! We're going to get a picture. This is my favorite part at every event. Fellow biohackers, I love it. Okay. Woo! You know, we have something incredible in our hands. All those hands up today, they're here today because they've seen life-changing events, whether it's personally or in their families. We're excited about this. So first thing I want to do, we love to celebrate life, right? And celebrate the people that are here. And I love to give out prizes. So I would love for Tara Gordon. Tara, are you here? She was our very first guest that signed in this morning. Tara, if you want to come up, we have a prize for you. Tara's from Jessup, Georgia. So she drove an hour in the rain this morning. So we're excited to have her here. So let's move forward. Do you want to get one right over here? Grab one of those beautiful colored packages. This is Team LifeVantage, you guys. So this may be the single most important health presentation of your life. We're going to go over the Biohacker's Guide to Health and Wellness. And we like to just say a disclaimer that we don't make any claims to cure, treat, or mitigate any disease or illness. So I'd like to introduce our next speaker this morning. This is Abby Drury. Abby is a great friend and a LifeVantage team member, and she's amazing. She has an amazing story, and she's here today because she's had an incredible passion with our products, but life-changing events too with her family. So she's a clinical nurse educator. She's been involved in a variety of practices in immunology, hepatology, and dermatology. So Abby Drury, come on up. Welcome this morning.
All right, Jill, I want to check with you. Are you good? All right. Hey, guys, I'm so excited that each and every one of you are here with us today. This journey actually began for me 16 months ago. And wow, what an incredible, incredible journey it has been. What this company and these products have done for my family is indescribable. They actually brought together for us a piece of a puzzle that we had been searching for a very, very long time. Today, we are going to present the science and the journeys of lives that have been changed. Woo! That gets your energy up for the day. I'm so excited to introduce to you our medical panel. Our first panelist is Dr. Neil Goodman. Dr. Goodman is a board certified pediatrician in adolescent medicine. He is also a member of the American Academy of Pediatrics, the American Academy of Anti-Aging and Medicine, and also the Institute of Functional Health. Nope, not yet. Not ready for you yet. Our next panelist, and you guys, I practiced this a lot in my car and I made up their own stuff because I didn't have their slides. So how funny is it? I was like, I hope I don't say what I really said your title was in my car. All right. So our next panelist is Debbie Zito. She is a board certified pediatric physician assistant, and she's also an international board certified lactation consultant. And we are so excited to have Dr. Brad Goodman join us today, all the way from Savannah, Georgia. Before I even go any further, I know you are all thinking that they are related, right? Are you guys related? Anyway, that's your brother? Brother from a different mother. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone knew they were not related. And we are so excited that Brad joined our team a little over a year ago, or right at a year ago. Dr. Brad Goodman is a certified in allergy and board certified in allergy, immunology, and also pediatrics. All right. So moving right along. All right. So you guys, this is so amazing that we have this medical panel with us today. But what you really need to know is that these are just a few of thousands of medical professionals involved with LifeVantage. And there's a reason for that. What separates our company from any other company is the science. And we could probably talk for hours and hours and hours about that science, but today we're going to simplify that for you and put it in simple terms so that you can understand it and also share these products and this company with someone else. So we're going to move to their next slide and get them going. Is this where you start? All right. So Dr. Goodman, we have a lot of questions that came in, and we really wanted to open this up to everyone so that you guys felt involved. And so one of the questions is, you know, a lot of us know what the little yellow pill is, or it's the buzzword that we've heard. So Dr. Goodman, could you please explain to us exactly what that little yellow pill is? And, you know, I've come to find that it's involved in such a bigger picture. Can you describe to everyone what that bigger picture is?
All right. Well, thank you, Abby. I'm going to put this microphone down for just a second and take this jacket off if you don't mind. It's a little warm in here. All right. Well, this little yellow pill that everybody's talking about, and those that know about it, it's not little. It is yellow, but it's so much more powerful than what anybody might potentially say about it. And I think this belays the information that I'm trying to get to here to try to explain why it's so powerful. And, you know, we're being a little coy about it when we're talking about the little yellow pill. It has a name, it's Protandim Nrf2, and it is exceptionally powerful. And I'm going to describe that right now. I think to understand the science behind the little yellow pill, you have to understand that there are relationships having to do with oxygen. I'd like everybody just to take a big, deep breath. Okay, that's a lot like that first breath that you took when you were born. You needed oxygen to be born and you're living your life, but it's that very oxygen that's also responsible for our aging process and also ultimately culminates in our demise. And I know it's a strong statement to say, but the air that you breathe is only 21% oxygen. Any higher than that is really pretty toxic. And in children, it actually can lead to blindness if they're exposed to oxygen for too long. So we need it, but it's also the very thing that's killing us. And that's a pretty powerful statement. I don't think most of us really understand that. So what does it do? Well, it oxidizes. That's in the name, oxygen, right? And it oxidizes metal. It turns it to rust. It corrodes aluminum. But it's doing the same thing to our cells, slowly but surely. It causes them to wrinkle. It causes them to age. They start to break down. Ultimately, you start getting joint inflammation. You start feeling sore in the morning. And finally, if you have enough damage to your body, disease and later cell death. All right, so just like this apple that's exposed to oxygen, it starts to change even in a matter of minutes. It's flesh and we're flesh, and it's showing the effects much more quickly than it does in our body, but the mechanism is the same. And this is due to damage due to oxygen particles that we call free radicals. So free radicals Our body makes free radicals by the millions every second. And those free radicals wreak havoc on our body, our DNA, and our cellular material till finally they decompensate. And you reach a point in life where it starts to take its toll. So this happens, again, the common denominator is oxygen. So let's just refer to free radicals as the bad guys. Keep it simple. All right, so what do we do about it? Well, here's the battle. You have oxygen and you have antioxygen, right? Antioxidants. We're all told to take antioxidants. That's the solution. And your body has antioxidants. They were given to you at birth. They're in every one of your 37 trillion cells, in your eye cells, in your hair cells, in your heart cells, in your muscle cells, everywhere. And those internal antioxidants have names, and they go by the name of SOD, and you don't need, actually, there's a quiz at the end. I told him not to quiz you, okay? Just know that there's three, and they're exceptionally powerful. They're called SOD, catalase, and glutathione peroxidase. We need these. This is what we're born with. This is our defense mechanism against free radical damage from the moment you're born. Now, you can't really, up to this point, have done anything about it, but everyone tells you take antioxidants, right? So we do that by drinking wine, maybe, eating kale, broccoli, all those good things that everybody told you was good for you because they have antioxidants. The problem is that those antioxidants are so weak compared to the antioxidants that your body is able to make that essentially they don't do much. All right, so antioxidants are the good guys. We got a battle. Bad guys, good guys, okay? All right, so when the amount of the bad guys exceeds the amount of the good guys, that is the definition of oxidative stress. It's a simple thing. We don't need oxidative stress. This is our enemy. It's taking a toll on our bodies and causing us to age. So in fact, it's linked to over 200 diseases, perhaps even more than that. So if you look at this diagram just shows that in the center is oxidative stress. And you can also say that it is linked to inflammation, but all of those organ systems that you see there, the heart, the lungs, the joints, the brain, these are all affected by oxidative stress. Because remember now, this occurs in every cell of your body. So of course, all organ systems are going to be affected by it. So we want to stop that. So my job up to this point, and Dr. Brad Goodman's job, Brad, I really didn't know you before, right? I mean, you weren't born in my family, right? Okay. What I've done and what we've done as medical doctors is we've treated these organ systems with drugs. So Brad would use an inhaler, a breathing medicine for people who had asthma. And I would use, for example, Ritalin perhaps in patients who had ADD. This is our medical treatment. But maybe in fact, there's a better way to do this. Maybe what we should be doing is reducing the amount of oxidative stress in the whole organ system, the whole body. And if we could do that by increasing those internal antioxidants that we were born with and bringing them back online, then we would have a solution that is much easier. And that is what we're talking about with Protandim Nrf2. Okay, so why is that? Well, we have 46 chromosomes. All of our chromosomes have been mapped. We pretty much know what everything does now due to the gene mapping program that occurred some 10 years ago. And in those 23 pairs of chromosomes, you have to know that only 20% of your chromosomes are expressed at any one time. 80% of them are dormant. They're not doing anything. They formed you, and now they're quiet. And you can bring them back online by biohacking, okay? Using nutrigenomics, the science of nutrigenomics. So who here takes vitamin C because they know it's good for them? Raise your hand, please. All right, who drinks wine, not to get a buzz, but because they know that it has a chemical in it that's good for the heart? Who drinks wine purposely for that purpose? Okay, you guys are all biohackers. You're all making an improvement in your own self by putting food that is code for your body into you to affect a change. You're a biohacker, okay? So the other option is just be hijacked. be hijacked by all the bad things that happen to our body. Exposure to pollution, exposure to chemicals, bad eating, all those things, stress. They all have a toll on our body and they accelerate this aging process. So these 23 pairs of chromosomes each have a gene, okay? And these genes code for two particular things that I'm going to bring your attention to if you didn't know about it before. If you leave with nothing else today, it's with the knowledge of what NRF2 and NRF1 is. NRF2 and NRF1 are messenger proteins in our DNA that code for proteins and enzymes that are part of our survival mechanism. And they do amazing things. They code for cell survival and regulation of cellular recovery. Okay, this is not in question. This is absolutely documented science. You can go to pubmed.gov and read the literature and see how NRF2 is involved in almost everything and anything that having to do with oxidative stress and cell recovery. So it's amazing. So biohacking is reality now. All right, so again, I said use food and affect those genes. So that's what we're doing with Protandim. So, you know, the food industry doesn't care what your health is. And the medical industry, prior to the knowledge that I was given in medical school, didn't really care about food. So what we're trying to do with LifeVantage and with these products is we're trying to change that paradigm. We're trying to use NRF2 to affect our better outcome and make us better than we are, okay? All right, so if you were to take a direct antioxidant, meaning a supplement, kale, broccoli, wine, vitamin C, one molecule of an antioxidant gets rid of one free radical. And I said, we make millions. It's a losing battle. It's like putting out a fire with a Dixie cup. Okay? Now, when you activate your internal cellular mechanism, remember, you're talking to all 37 trillion cells simultaneously. You have activated a DNA sequence in your body that actually tells your body to make antioxidants by the millions to compete with those free radicals that are being generated in the millions. Now you stand a chance. All right, so that's the difference between supplementation and activation. 1,000,000 to 1 ratio versus 1 to 1 ratio. It's unbelievable that we even have this available to us. And I'm able to talk to you about it and explain this to you so that you can take home how, like I said, this little pill is so powerful, and it belays the science by saying it's such a small diminutive thing, this little yellow pill, as though it was nothing. It's not candy. It's powerful science. It's more even than some drugs. So this is Protandim. All right, so how do they do this? Well, science was studied years ago, and they came up with formulations for which they got 7 patents to show that if you could put certain organic compounds from food together in a specified ratio, you could actually create 1,800-fold increase in NRF2 activation than any one of those individual components by themselves. So what's in Protandim is ashwagandha root, bacopa extract, green tea extract, milk thistle. These are all things that have been used for years individually, but really, they didn't really know what they were doing with it and why it worked. We understand what it does. They're all NRF2 activators in their own right, but together and combined, they're amplified. And that's what is the little yellow pill. Okay, so essentially, Protandim NRF2 lowers your oxidative stress by 40% from what it was before you started it. And that occurs within 30 days of taking it in almost everyone who's ever taken it. That's from age 20 to age 78. Is where the testing was done. And this was repeated and was peer-reviewed and studied in the literature that was published at NIH and at the National Institutes of Aging. This is not just like, you know, TV science that you see on TV that they say it's good for your brain, et cetera, et cetera. This is studied stuff. And that's what separates this product from every other product on the market. The patents are there, the studies are there, the backup is there. You have doctors on board with this that absolutely believe in the product, okay? The thing is, it is a food, considered a food. It is not considered a drug. It is approved by the FDA to reduce oxidative stress by 40% in everyone who takes it. That's an FDA certified statement. All right, so again, you could eat 375 oranges. You could have 87 glasses of wine. You could have 11 pounds of blueberries. That would equal 1 Protandim. That's the power. You couldn't possibly eat that without getting sick. All right, so here's the graph. This is what shows what happens in oxidative stress, okay? Oxidative stress goes up from age 20 to age, 80? That's without Protandim. That's that red bar. And after Protandim, it's flatlined, okay? From age 20, I mean, basically, you've brought down your aging process back down to the level of a 20-year-old, and your healing process too. It's unbelievable. All right, so if your body was a piano and a keyboard, and it played good notes when it was young, this is what the notes would look like. They'd be nice and smooth, nice smooth bar histogram. But this is what happens to our piano. It's aging, okay? It's not performing as well, and it becomes discordant, and the notes don't sound as well. You're out of tune. This is what all of your genes, actually, this is a picture of 63 genes out of 400 genes that Protandim affects. We only talked about the 3 antioxidants, glutathione, SOD, and catalase, but there's 400 things that Protandim affects. This is just a picture of 63. Look what happens. This is before Protandim. You have some that are low, you have some that are high, and this is after Protandim. It smooths it all out. It retunes that piano just like as though you were 20 in terms of what your cells are doing to talk to the rest of your body, okay? You may not necessarily feel it, but this is what's happening. All right, so Washington State University in 2015 said, this is potentially the most incredible, extraordinary therapeutic and preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And I promise you it's that. And you are the first audiences to know about it, and those that are already using it are on the cutting edge. All right, so just real briefly, summation, put it into a few words. We reduce oxidative stress by 40% by taking a natural substance that comes from nature, not from man. It's not a drug. Don't take antioxidants, make them. You have much more potential to do that. It fights free radicals 1 million to 1 versus 1 to 1. Increases SOD, catalase, and glutathione, and drops your oxidative stress, as I said. It activates over 400 other survival genes that maybe nobody told you about. And the last thing is it helps the body to detoxify and helps you remove the trash from years of accumulation of whether it be purposeful or inadvertent damage and injury to your body and to the cells from years of just living. So essentially, that's the little yellow pill.
Stay right here. I think I may have a couple of questions for him. So first, I want to say hello to Around the Globe. We are so excited that you're joining us today, and we just wanted to give you a little shout out. All right, Dr. Goodman, I'm a nurse. But some of those words, I felt like when I first heard them, I was like, there's no way I can't say this stuff. I can't say it the way he says it, right? So basically, if I take that little yellow pill, it's going to do the same thing as if I went and drank 87 glasses of wine.
Yes. without the buzz.
Oh, so I'm not sure I could handle 87 glasses of wine, but I could definitely take that little yellow pill. All right. So I have another question for you. What you showed on here is it's going to lower my oxidative stress. Is it going to do that immediately, or is there like some type of time frame I need to give myself to get all that junk cleaned up inside of me?
Okay, that's a great question. It doesn't happen immediately. You've got years and years of accumulation of injury and damage that your body has to remove and detoxify. It takes time. Within a month, you'll drop your oxidative stress by 40%, but you can drop it as low as 70% over time, the average being 1 month for each decade of life that you live. So if you're 70 years old, it's going to take you at least 77 months in order to bring your levels down to the level of a 20-year-old. Now, that doesn't say that you're going to feel like a 20-year-old. It's happening internally. It's not something that you necessarily feel. You just have to know that it's going on. And if you were to actually do biochemical markers, measures, pre and post, you would probably see the benefits that we're talking about. Most people aren't going to do that. Most people just want to know what to do. Tell me what to take that I can get to that state. And some amazing things have happened with people who have taken Protandim Nrf2. And I think you may hear some of those stories later.
All right. Thank you very much. So we're going to move into the next pillar of health, which is our cellular health. And that has to deal with our mitochondria. So Dr. Brad Goodman, could you please come explain to us what the mitochondria is and exactly what does the NRF1 pathway have to do with it?
I will do my best. Thank you, Abby, and thanks for having me. And yeah, I would like to talk a little bit about mitochondrial function, okay? And what the NRF2 does is different than what I'm going to be talking about, which is the NRF1, okay? So the NRF1, as Dr. Neil, my brother, already mentioned, NRF1 is going to be one of the other key regulatory proteins, okay? But this one, rather than affecting oxidative stress, is going to work on mitochondrial function, okay? So the mighty mitochondria, okay? I hate these things here. Mighty mitochondria, is this too close? Good, okay. So the mitochondria are basically the energy producing cell or organelles in our body. So the mitochondria are what is responsible for all of our energy production, okay? So these strong organelles, which are found inside our cells, okay, are responsible for producing energy that is utilized by our body. Now, the main energy that is produced by the mitochondria is something called ATP. So that's adenosine triphosphate, okay? Now, this is important for the cellular machinery to run appropriately because you have to have the proper energy for your cell to run, okay? So what happens is with this production of the appropriate energy, then we have support of heart health function, muscle growth, and it maintains normal body activity and brain function. No problem. This is actually a diagram, okay, that kind of depicts all of the potential functions of the mitochondria, okay? Now, there will be a test on this at the end of it. So you might want to get your phones out and take yourself a picture. Basically what this is, and what this is to show is that there is a tremendous amount of effects that the mitochondria are responsible for. Now, again, you really don't need to know these, but just know how important the mitochondria are to proper and appropriate cellular function. And what we're talking about here again is trying to improve our overall cellular health, okay? So again, as Dr. Neil already alluded to, sometimes we may not feel the effects of this, but we have to know that we are by taking some of these products, we are stimulating our cells to function more appropriately and to be able to get the best out of our cells that hopefully are going to help us in cognition, in overall general health, improvement with mood, and improvement with just general function, okay? So what happens when the mitochondria start to decline, okay? Well, what happens is, and many of this is due to the oxidative stress and the oxidative effects that Dr. Neil has already spoken about. Okay, so what happens is, and what you see here is this kind of depiction of kind of a sick mitochondria. Okay, really should be the other way, so it's like not smiling and it would be like sad. Okay, so but what you see is this is a mitochondria that is about to die. Okay, and when this mitochondria dies, it cannot produce the energy that the cell needs, and consequently, what will lead to is things like poor aging. Okay, now back to the whole free radical concept, okay? So the free radical damage is what is responsible not only for the oxidative stress, but also is doing the damage to our mitochondria in the cells. So basically what these free radicals do is they act like miniature hurricanes inside of our cell, and they're basically destroying our cell. So what they do is, first they destroy the nucleus, okay, which is, the nucleus is basically the general of the cell. So they're providing all the network for the cell to function appropriately. But again, you must have the mitochondria, which provide the energy for the cell to function appropriately. So without this energy, the nucleus cannot do what it needs to do, and consequently, that's going to lead to consequences such as disease. So we see a decrease in the DNA, and then we see a defect or killing off of the mitochondria. So if you look at the inside of a cell, okay, what this is depicting is you see the mitochondria. I don't know where the pointer is. I shouldn't have done that. Sorry. I didn't get a tutorial on the pointer. That's okay. Y'all needed a break anyway. Which is the pointer?
It's live. Right? Pointer is on the laser pointer is there.
I got it now. Okay. Sorry, guys. So back to it. So what we have here is we have our cell. Okay. We have the mitochondria. Now this cell here actually has just 3 mitochondria. Okay. I'll get there. So we have the 3 mitochondria here. Now many cells will have up to several hundred mitochondria. So the cells that have more function, such as your brain or your muscles, okay, they're going to have more mitochondria. But what's happening here is, what happens when these mitochondria get killed? Well, basically this cell, okay, still has its integrity, but it doesn't have any energy for the cell to function. So consequently, what happens is that this cell basically dies. And this cell is dying from the inside out, okay? And hopefully, by taking some of these supplements that we're talking about, we can prevent this type of free radical damage. Now, what this leads to clinically is if we have decreased mitochondria, we get decreased metabolism, okay? If we get decreased metabolism, we have decrease in energy production, which can lead to things like weight gain. It's also very important in the immune system in terms of energy equates to healing. If you don't have the proper cellular machinery and the proper energy for your cells to function, then you don't heal appropriately, okay? This can contribute to illnesses and even can be a trigger for things like cancer. You also, more importantly, and probably the most important of all, the mitochondria are very important for brain health, okay? So thinking, emotion, and concentration all go down as our mitochondrial function decrease. And what this will lead is to something called clinical brain fog, where you just don't feel like you can think very well. Now, so what should we do about it? Okay, well, what we should do about it is we should consider the use of the NRF1, which is the other Superman. This is the other superhero, okay? Because what we've already said is this increases the number of mitochondria, which in turn protects the mitochondria from damage. It supports cellular rejuvenation. It supports the production of ATP, which leads to improved brain function, improved heart health, and improved blood cell formation, okay? So basically, it improves cellular metabolism as a whole. What is found in NRF1 are several different ultra pure, much like all of the other LifeVantage products, okay? Herbal type supplements, okay, which are usually found in things like foods. But what these are is acetyl L-carnitine, quercetin, grape extract, alpha lipolic acid, and coenzyme Q. And these are all found in this, and this proprietary blend is what makes the NRF1 work so well. So in summary, what we have is the benefits of the NRF1: increased cellular energy, improves performance, enhances sleep, boosts mitochondrial production and the ability for the mitochondria to communicate and network, and slows overall cellular aging by supporting chromosomal integrity. So we call this the 1-2 punch. Okay, this is the combination of the NRF1 and the NRF2, and these are found as two of the components of the 4 components of our vitality stack, which you will hear more about as we continue.
So basically what you're saying is my mitochondria in my cell is kind of like a car engine. And if my car engine goes kaput, then my car doesn't crank, right?
You got it.
So if I can improve my cellular energy, then my cells move faster, they have more energy, they're doing what they're supposed to in the body for me to function correctly.
And they're more efficient. And I would say, just as an aside, I had surgery a week ago. Okay. I had inguinal hernia surgery a week ago. Okay. I feel very confident that my taking my supplements also helped me. And in fact, I actually spoke to my surgeon and said, no, I will not stop the supplements in preparation for the surgery. I'm going to continue the supplements in preparation for my surgery. And here I am standing. I will not dance for you guys because I can't dance well anyway, but I am standing and I feel pretty good. And I do think that the fact that my mitochondria are functioning better and the NRF1 is on board and the NRF2 is on board, I think that that's part of the reason why I've recovered so quickly.
Awesome. Yay. Thank you very much. All right. So we have our dual synergizer, and I do have one more question for Dr. Neil Goodman before we move on to the next pillar of health. I'm sure some of you, maybe 1 or 2 people out here are saying, I already take that. I already take those ingredients that are in that pill that they're talking about. So could you please explain to them the difference in taking them separately versus taking them together in this dual synergizer?
Well, honestly, I don't know why you would take them separately. I think you can take them both simultaneously at the same time. They are synergistic with each other. They were designed that way. If you choose that you want to take the NRF2 in the morning and take the NRF1 in the evening, it really doesn't make much difference. But they both are designed to work together. And as I said, they amplify each other.
But what if I took the ingredients in the NRF2 separately versus taking my NRF2?
Well, okay. So, I mean, if you want to take turmeric, a teaspoon of turmeric and a teaspoon of ashwagandha root and do all those things separately, the problem with that is you could get away with it, but the ratio is what's important. You probably cannot replicate the ratio that's occurring without great difficulty and probably expense. So it makes sense that somebody has already researched this and they have done the studies to show that when it's, I mean, the guy spent 30 years to try to, I mean, he tried a number of different, there was a world famous, almost Nobel Peace Prize scientist who came up with a formulation of Protandim NRF2. And he worked on this for 30 years. And that is what brought us to the patent that LifeVantage purchased. Why would we try to recreate something that was developed by this research Nobel laureate, essentially? And by the way, he was the guy who discovered superoxide dismutase in 1969 and got the award from the Chemistry Society for that. So I wouldn't challenge that.
All righty. Thank you so much. All right. We are going to move on to our third pillar of health, which has to do with our second brain. So I went to nursing school. I had to pass anatomy and physiology and all of these classes, and I only learned about one brain. I thought we only had one brain. So Debbie, could you please come explain to everyone what the second brain is and why it's so important?
I would love to. Thank you, Abby. Of course, your gut is your second brain. Who here loves food? I love food. We have all heard before that you are what you eat, right? It should say you feel what you eat, right? I'm going to give you a perfect example. I was thinking about this when I was getting ready for my presentation. So Dr. Neil Goodman and I have been practicing together for 18 years. So 18 years ago, started my first week in practice with him, and it happened to be National Physician Assistant Day, National PA Day. And Dr. Neil Goodman comes up to me and says, Deb, I want to celebrate your profession. I'm so glad you're working with me. I want to celebrate you. I want to take you to lunch. And I said, awesome. And I'm thinking all morning, this is going to be great. I'm going to, he's a pediatrician. We're going to get some good food, nice, healthy salad, something like that, right? Well, those of you that are local will understand these three words that I'm about to say to you. Willie's Weenie Wagon. Okay, Willie's Weenie Wagon. Willie, if you're here, we love your food. We really do. But I have to tell you about Willie's Weenie Wagon. I mean, it's fried pork chop sandwiches, fried hot dogs, fried hamburger, oh, it's so good, you guys. Well, guess how I felt the rest of the day? Okay, that is why your gut is your second brain. All right, let's talk about LifeVantage's ProBio. So we're on the third pillar of health. We talk about our body in synergy. Dr. Neil Goodman talked about the NRF2 activator. It's basically getting rid of trash in your body. Dr. Brad Goodman talked about, well, it needs energy to get rid of the trash. Let's get your mitochondria stronger. Well, let's talk about the third pillar of health, our second brain. This is our beautiful intestinal tract from the top to the bottom. So that's our second brain. So what do we know about our enteric nervous system? Your gut has a mind of its own. It's the second brain. So I love to talk about the microbiome. I work in pediatrics. I am filled with a germ warfare all day in my office. Literally, I've been wearing a mask all week long, and I didn't even realize. I wore it like a necklace. The other day I left work and I went to the gas station. I'm pumping gas and I realized my mask is still on. I mean, it is my necklace. I'm facing germs every day. Well, your gut is too. You have something called the gut microbiome. You've got a lot of good bacteria in there, and you have a lot of bad bacteria. This is the craziest thing, you guys, and it's almost gross. If you think about all the bacteria in your gut, and you take all the DNA of all the bacteria in your gut, and you compare it to all the human DNA in your cells, guess what? There's more DNA in the bacteria of your gut. Okay. Doesn't it make sense to protect your gut? Get more of the good guys. So we are more microbial than we are human. So this is why probiotics are so important. Anybody take probiotics? Lots of people do. We recommend them all the time. And I'm telling you, now that I take LifeVantage probiotics, I won't take any other one. And I'm going to tell you why. Again, it's a balance, and we want to enhance the good bacteria in our gut. Anybody ever heard of leaky gut? Okay. You have this beautiful gut lining from the top to the bottom, and it is under assault every day. Emotional stress, the foods we eat, Willie's Weenie Wagon. I mean, just everything every day. Doesn't it make sense to protect the gut lining? If you don't protect the gut lining, guess what's going to happen? It's going to weaken. And what comes into your gut, a lot of good stuff we like to filter out into our bodies. But what happens is if you lose the integrity of the gut lining, all those bad things are going to leak out into your system. And guess what? You're going to feel what you eat. You're going to feel the stress in your life. So our gut is our second brain, and it talks to your first brain. There are actual neurotransmitters in your gut that are like the first brain neurotransmitters: serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, talking all day long, even when you sleep. So your gut's job is to absorb, right? Sending signals, protecting your well-being. And it affects how we feel. Guess how I felt after Dr. Neil Goodman took me to lunch that day? I thought, he's going to fire me. I'm just tired. I don't feel good. But you know what? I realized that day, and as I do many days when I eat poorly, that it affects my well-being. So, and the leaky gut has been implicated in things that we see a lot, unfortunately: autism, Down syndrome. So I used to go to the health food store and I go, okay, let me find the one that has the most colony forming units. 6,000, 10,000, 20,000. Which one are you going to pick? The highest number, right? Well, it's not necessarily how many, but where does it go? And this is another reason why I like LifeVantage's ProBiome. So it has 6 very helpful, good colony strains for the good bacteria in your gut. It actually has a very cool BioTrack system because each part of your gut needs different good bacteria. So this BioTrack system gets in your body and it's released about over a 10-hour period. So it's getting to the part of your gut where those bacteria are needed the most. 6 billion colony forming units to help your trillions of cells in your guts. 60% of it, almost 70% of it, gets to your large intestine. And I don't know about you, and I didn't realize this till recently, but most of your immune system is regulated by your gut. Did you guys know that? Okay. Most of your immune system is regulated by your gut. Another reason why you should protect it. And then LifeVantage just kicked it out again and added Wellmune, which enhances your immune system. Okay. So that is the third pillar of health, your gut. And I bet you guys are going to think about that today, right? Feed your gut the right things. Okay.
Thank you, Debbie. So, of course, I'm going to put her on the spot. Sorry.
I love that.
Before I started with LifeVantage, I went to the health food store and I would buy my Emagrace, the most expensive one, because it was the best, because it was most expensive and it was kept in the refrigerator. But can you tell me exactly how much of that most expensive powdered probiotic was making it to her gut and why this one is so important and better?
I love that question. Guess what? You wasted your money that day.
I know, I told him.
You wasted your money. This is very, very important. Only 4% of the over-the-counter probiotics get past your stomach acids. 4%. Okay. Remember, it's got to get to where it needs to be and enhance your immune system, which again is regulated in your bowel. So I hate to tell you, Abby, you wasted your money that day.
I'm glad it's getting there now. All right. Thank you so much, Debbie. Our next pillar of health has to deal with our first brain. So, Dr. Brad Goodman, could you please come explain to the audience exactly what the brain is made of and why omegas are so important?
Yes. The brain is made of 70% fatty tissue. Okay. So what we really need to do is we need to feed the fat with the proper fats. Okay. So the omega-3s, okay, which is found in the omega plus. So you will hear about the components of the omega plus because there's more than just the omega in it, which is why I also think it is such an excellent product. But the fatty acids, okay, the omega-3 fatty acids in particular and the omega-7s are very important, okay, for normal brain structure and brain development, which also helps with your memory, okay, and learning. Okay, by the age of 45, the brain will shrink by 11%. Okay, omega-3s reduce that shrinkage amongst doing many other things.
Thank you so much. So I do have one question before you walk away, since you are an allergist, right? You may have some answers. So if I have a seafood allergy, is it okay for me to take omegas?
Absolutely, and especially with the LifeVantage products, because what you have is, due to the way that they are proprietarily made, you can even track the packages from the fish that were caught in the oil. These are pharmaceutical grade fish oils. Okay, so they really do not have any of the allergenic proteins that one would need to worry about. In fact, this has come up several times in my patient population, and it's like, no, absolutely, you are totally fine to go ahead and take this product, even if you were to have severe life-threatening anaphylaxis to fish or to shellfish.
That's good news. Yay.
Basically, the allergenic proteins are taken out. So when you have an allergic reaction to something, you're making an IgE-mediated response to a protein. Okay, so if that protein is removed, okay, then you cannot make an allergic IgE-mediated anaphylactic response. Okay, it's the same type thing. There's a lot of wives' tales about other oils. So for instance, like peanut oil. Okay, so most of my patients, even the ones that truly have peanut allergy, can still have highly refined peanut oil, because the way that it is refined, the proteins that are allergenic are removed.
Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Neil Goodman. We have heard that our omegas now have omega-3, omega-7, and guess what? There's a little extra special something added to our omega. So I'm going to let Dr. Goodman explain that to you, and why these omegas and vitamin D3 is so important.
Thank you. Abby and Brad covered very briefly that you need omega-3s, of course, for brain structure. And it's an oil. Your brain is made of oil and fat, and you need to put that fat back in order to maintain support and structure. So omega-3s, though, have other uses in the body. Besides building healthy brain membranes, they're also important for heart health. They help to reduce cholesterol. They are important in your cellular communication pathway, because your nervous tissue also has that same omega-3, if you will, coating on the nervous tissue, because they come from the brain and work their way through your system. So it helps with nerve transmission, and then ultimately helps muscle function as well. And the nice thing is that it's also anti-cancer and anti-diabetes. So it's really a very, very useful thing. Now, omega-3s are different than omega-7s. Now, they put in the LifeVantage product omega-7s as well. And what derives the name has to do with where, this is chemistry now, guys, but whether or not some of the chemical markers on the oil are at the 3rd carbon, or on the 7th carbon, or the 9th carbon, or the 6th carbon. Omega-6s, everybody's heard of omega-6s. Well, that's in vegetable oil. We have far too much omega-6s in our diet. And it really, you want to have a lower ratio than 1 to, or 12 to 1 ratio. We're probably oversaturated with oil. So we need more and more omega-3s in our diet to compensate for that. And so that's why we want to get these in. And you want to avoid the omega-6s. But the omega-7s are also helpful to us if we take those in, and they're hard to come by. They're anti-inflammatory and anti-diabetes as well. And then they're also great for our connective tissue. And then the last kicker is that they were smart enough to put a vitamin D content into this Omega Plus. That's why it's called Omega Plus, which you need for your bones and your immune system and your heart and your prostate and breast, as far as protection from cancer. So it's very smart, since most of us will be vitamin deficient for vitamin D as we get older, because we're not drinking enough milk or don't like it anymore. It's good that they included this in the product.
Thank you so much. So if I'm already taking vitamin D3, is it okay for me to take this with it?
Sure, absolutely. The general recommendation for vitamin D is about 600 international units. This product has 800 in it. It's just a little bit over, but to be honest with you, most of us are far more deficient than that. And if in fact you truly have a vitamin D deficiency, oftentimes you need in the thousands. So wouldn't be unreasonable to take 2,000 or 5,000 units of vitamin D as an addition.
Thank you so much. So my Emma Grace takes 3 of these omegas a day, and then she's also on 1,600 international units additional to this of vitamin D3. So it's really important that if you do have a vitamin D3 deficiency, that you continue taking what you were taking. Okay. All right. So we're going to move on. Debbie, if you could come up and explain this picture. So as a child, my mom would make these nasty things. I'd have to eat them because she loved to make them, and she thought we all liked them, and they were called salmon croquettes. And I didn't want to eat those things. No, I don't think she's in here. Thank goodness she's watching. So I never liked those, Mom. But anyway, I would have to burp them up all day. They were awful, and I think I'll never eat another one in my life because I had to eat them so much. It must have been one of her most favorite things to make, or only thing that she made us. And so, Debbie, could you explain to everyone why our omegas are a little different and we don't have those fish burps after we take them?
I love that. I love babies. Okay, so we talked about omega-3s and how important they are for your brain. You know what, you guys? They're important for your whole body. Every cell, all 37 trillion cells in your body need support. Okay, so that's true. Who's taken a fish oil and burped up fishy, yucky taste all day? Well, there's a reason for that. Guess what? It's oxidized. It's rancid. It's not good for you. So if you've been taking a fish oil that tastes fishy, I want you to go home today and throw it out and order our omega fish oils today. You guys, I'm a lactation consultant. I understand the importance of good fat, right? Starting from little ones. These are so pure and taste good. They have a lemon lime flavor, and they're yummy. We have kids that bite into them. I'd pop them open. I'd put them in breast milk or baby's formula. They're really that safe and taste that good. And like Dr. Brad Goodman said, they are 100% traceable, boat to bottle. How cool is that? So they're not rancid, no yucky fish smell, no yucky fish burps. So,
so we have another question. That's
okay. Abby and her questions.
I like these questions. Okay. So I do have a question before you sum this all up for us. If I am taking prescription medications that have been prescribed to me, is it okay for me to take this Vitality Stack that you're talking about? Are there any drug interactions?
As far as we know, there are no drug interactions. Okay. You know, we talk about this again. These are nutraceuticals. They're nutrition for your body. They're not pharmaceuticals. So yes, Abby, as far as we know, they're not contraindicated with taking with any prescribed medications. Okay. So I'd love to just wrap this up real quick, and then we're going to play a game. While we're playing a game, if you look on the back of your paper, your educational paper, all of our guests are going to have a number. And I'm going to pick a few numbers. Dr. Brad Goodman, pick a number between 1 and 20.
12.
12. Number 12.
So if you're already an active distributor, you do not have a number. So these were only for our guests. So any guest that's in the room, look on the back of your paper.
Anybody have the number 12? Oh, come on up. Okay, Dr. Neil Goodman, pick a number between 20 and 28.
24.
24. 24. Calling number 24. Tammy, you are lucky like my sister. Okay, number 24. Okay, Abby, pick a number between, are we higher than? 30 and 40.
Let's pick 42.
Oh, she went. She
you
needs
say-
her omega.
Oh, sorry. I didn't have my Axio yet. All right. So we're going to do between 30 and 40. Let's pick 37.
37. Okay. You guys ready? 37. Okay, come on up. Abby's going to go over something with you. All right. I can't tell you guys how thankful I am for these two. Sitting here with these two amazing physicians, this is excellence, service of excellence. They love their patients. They believe in these products. This is incredible. I'm going to make this super simple. I'm going to round up for you what the Vitality Stack is. Simple, tear off package. When we talk about synergy, we talk about when things work together or come together, they work better, right? Every single product LifeVantage makes is in synergy. It's in sync with what our bodies need every single day. Let's talk about balance. A table. Table has 4 legs, right? Our kitchen table is kind of lacking. One leg's a little shaky right now, but it has 4 legs and it's balance and it's synergy. These are the 4 pillars of health. Dr. Neil Goodman talked about NRF2. I'm going to make it simple. NRF, the number 2. 2, activate your system. 2, make antioxidants, right? More good guys. That is the little yellow pill. And like Dr. Brad Goodman said, it takes more energy to get rid of waste. We need our engine running well. Let's take the 1-2 punch is the NRF1. I always think about the NRF1 with a cape on. That's the mighty mitochondria. So you get rid of trash, you get better energy. Remember what I said? Your gut and your brain health. Your gut talks to your brain. So you're hijacked every single day. You need all 4 core pillars of health. Okay. So let me ask you guys, remember you're hijacked. Chemical stress, foods we eat, emotional stress, so many things, medications that we take, so many things we're being hijacked. Our bodies are being hijacked, right? Doesn't it make sense to activate your God-given genes to do what they're intended to do? You're biohacked. Do you want to be hijacked or who wants to be biohacked? Yes, we want to be biohacked. Okay, let's play a game. You girls ready? Okay. Yep. Everybody stand up, get a little energy. This is minute to win it. Okay. And our next group of panelists, come on up to the front. Everybody stretch, big breaths. Don't oxidize too much. Okay. This is minute to win it. Abby's going to go over a fun little game, and our girls are going to get prizes today. At the end of this meeting, you guys, because we have limited time, we're going to be available afterwards to answer any science questions that you have, okay? All right, you ready?
Hey guys, just want to have a big shout out saying hello. Welcome to the virtual training.
Okay.
This is an example of how
what they have to do is single by single. They have to pull tissues out of the box. First one to get all the tissues out wins a prize.
Before the meeting's over with, I'm going to pan and I'm going to show you what they've done in the back of the room.
You ready?
And to help you to understand.
Okay.
The
all right. Everybody sit down. Let's see what these girls do. Let's see how biohack they are today.
So I just want to come say shout out to everybody. I'm glad you're on. This is
I know
cool
you
to be able to stream it live through Facebook as
well
as
Zoom.
Come
on.
We'll talk soon.
Come on. Go, Tammy. Go. Woo. Let's go. Woo. Good thing we didn't make you do that one-handedly. Okay, you're an OB nurse. I know you can. You got 6 hands. Go, girl. Woo. Good job. Almost there. We timing. Woo! We may need those tissues after. Woo! Almost there. Almost there. Woo! Yeah, fly. Woo! Boy, we bought big boxes of tissues. Woo! All right. Okay. You, my friend, tell us your name.
Tammy,
This is Tammy, and where are you from?
St. Simon's Island.
Tammy from St. Simon's Island. We have a prize for you. Actually, we have a prize for all of you girls. Okay, woo! Everybody feel better? Move around a little bit. Okay, so the next group of individuals that we're going to move away from the science a little bit and move into the passion. We've got an incredible group of people up here. You guys, these people have had life-changing events with our products. Yes, we have our foundational science, but what is so amazing is that we are literally changing lives around the globe. So thank you all for joining us this morning. And I'm going to start first with Laura Moulton. I've had the privilege of knowing Laura and her sweet husband, Chuck, and their two adorable little girls for the past few years. So Laura, tell me this. I know you're a full-time educator and you're a busy mama, okay? I want to know from you a little bit about your why you chose our products, why you chose LifeVantage.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I remember, I guess it was 10 months ago, I was standing back at the Axio table, and I remember listening to the doctors and thinking, okay, I think that I have actually made a really good choice for my family for the first time ever. Light bulbs were going off. The doctors had just spoken, and I was like, okay, this is big. I like it. So in October of 2017, my youngest daughter, Mary Charles, was diagnosed with a very rare gene mutation. It's called KCNB1. And there are 65 kids in the entire world that has her gene mutation. So while we had answers, we also had a lot of questions, and we needed more answers. How could we help her? What could we do? We weren't ready. She was 3 at the time. We were not ready to give her pharmaceuticals. I'm a teacher. I see it every day. I knew she needed to learn and grow and develop, but I wasn't ready yet, and she's too little. So I had a friend, a very dear friend of mine, reached out to me, and she was like, hey, I have this thing I've been trying with my kids, and I'm seeing a difference. And I thought, okay, great. You've shared with me several other products, and I've spent a lot of money, and nothing has worked. So here we are again. But I did some research, and I thought, okay, I will try it. Mary Charles was nonverbal at the time, so I wasn't going to give her something that was going to make her feel bad. So I started taking the products last February and wanted to see, what I was going to feel like. And I didn't feel anything other than I started sleeping really good. I was dreaming for the first time. Hadn't had any headaches in a while, which was big for me. I was on a lot of medication at the time for those headaches. And so I thought, well, why not? So we started trying to get it in Mary Charles. She was 3 and she's a little picky eater. So I tried everything, spent a lot of money on making candies and gummies and all the stuff. And Miss Debbie said, why don't you just put it in our juice? I went, oh, okay. Down the hatch it went. And, that first week, it's funny because Chuck and I would look at each other and we thought, no, there's no way. And, we would just kind of, that's great. Good for her. There's no way this has anything to do with her starting this Protandim. And so lucky for me, I started just taking notes. I just kept a list in my phone. I'm a list person, and started snapping some pictures of just these things that they were huge victories for us. And it's crazy because a couple of them are up there, but the first time she let me braid her hair. Mary Charles had never sat still long enough for me to braid her hair, but she also didn't like for me to touch her head. There was none of that. She has a lot of sensory, issues. So I braided 2 braids in her hair that night, and I sent a picture to my mom. I said, oh my God, look at this. She stacked blocks for the first time. Running joke with all her therapists, the child would not stack anything. And I walked by her room one night, and there she was sitting in her bedroom just stacking blocks. She let me read a book to her for the very first time. She's a busy little thing, and she sat and listened to books. It's one of our favorite things to do now at night. We just sit and read. So each month over the last 12 months has brought something new for us. It has been an amazing journey. And I know that the best is yet to come. Our journey has just started, and our hope is finally restored for our daughter.
I love that. Again, another why. Why do we do this, right? So our next speaker this afternoon is Suzanne Watson. Suzanne drove all the way up from South Florida to be with us today. And she too is an amazing educator. And one really amazing fact about her is that I heard that she has one of the best little sisters in the entire world. Younger sister, just you want to tell us? No, really. Actually, so Suzanne has had an incredible story, an incredible journey with LifeVantage also. So Suzanne, would you share your story with us today?
Of course, little sister. Let me start back about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I went for my annual physical. How many love to do that? One of my favorite things to do. Never. I got to the doctor, and for the first time, she shared some things with me that really kind of scared me. She told me that, number one, I had high blood pressure, which, of course, I already knew. We'd been on medication and working with that for a little while. She told me that I was classified as obese. And I was like, whoa, that was like a big word. You know, I knew I was overweight, but they never used that word. And I don't like that word. They need to take that out of the medical dictionary. And then the third thing she told me is for the first time in my blood work, I was classified as a diabetic. So I kind of was in shock, you know, and I went home and I was really depressed and I didn't tell a soul and I didn't share it with anybody. And my sister called me, my little sister called me a couple weeks after that and said, I'm so excited. I'm involved with this new company. They've got some amazing products. I really think these can help you. And I sat there and thought for a minute. I was like, oh, you know, all right, go ahead and tell me about them. So she told me about them and I kind of hemmed and hawed because I was already taking now medication for diabetes. I was taking medication for my high blood pressure. And I thought, I really don't want to add another pill. I'm trying to get rid of these types of things. So after a couple of weeks, I decided, let me go ahead and jump in. Let me go ahead and try it. So I started with the NRF2. That first month was not good. It was really difficult for me. And I called her midway through and I said, this is not working for me. This is making me feel worse, not better. And just like Debbie, she starts like this every time she talks to me. Now, Suzanne, you need to relax. This is helping you from the inside out. It is changing your body. Your body is detoxing. You had a lot of bad stuff in there. It's going to take a little bit to get it out. So I said, all right. So I kept taking it for the rest of the month. And sure enough, she was right. And by the end of the month, I started feeling a little bit better. So I continued on for a couple months. About 3 months in, I talked to her again. And I said, all right, listen, I'm spending this money every month. I'm not feeling anything. I don't feel any different. I don't see anything different. Nothing's happening. So Debbie says, now, Suzanne, there's a couple of things you need to know. First of all, you need to give this product time to work. It's going to take about 1 month for every decade you are old. So I'm thinking, okay, I'm in my somewhat 50s. So I had a couple more months that I needed to go. And then she said to me, you also need to understand, you may not be seeing it, you may not be feeling it, but your body is changing at the cellular level. And you are changing your genes and your body is getting better. Just stick with it. So I said, all right, well, I'm going to go to the 6-month period and see how it goes. So I had to go back for my 6-month checkup for my pediatrician. See, I really am the younger sister. for my doctor. And because I had to go every 6 months at that point for the diabetes, she wanted to watch my numbers. So I really wasn't expecting anything different to happen. And I got in there and I was really kind of shocked. I wasn't looking forward to going. But first of all, my blood pressure had started to come down, even though before, when I was on my blood pressure meds, it wasn't changing. My sugar levels started to come down. And I don't know how, but I was losing weight. So I got on the phone and I called Debbie and I'm like, guess what? Your stuff works. So she said, I told you, just stick with it, stick with it. And then she told me about the Vitality Stack. She told me all the medical stuff and it kind of went like this. But what I heard was one pill for NRF2, all of these pills to target all different areas. That's a lot more. I can make myself a lot better if I'm taking the whole thing. So I went ahead at that point and started taking the whole Vitality Stack. And then a couple months into that, I was starting to feel good. I was losing weight, watching what I was eating, being more careful. And then she shared the physique system with me. And that really was kind of life-changing for me. I started taking the physique system in February. And at the same time, I started wanting to share what I was doing with other people. So I said, listen, I'm all in. I want to be a distributor because this is working for me. I have something that I can share, that I believe in, and I can talk about. So in February, I became a distributor and I started following the physique system. So let me fast forward a year later, this past February. Sorry. 1 year later, I'm completely off of all pharmaceuticals. My blood pressure, off of my high blood pressure meds, been off of them for 6 months, totally regulated, staying normal, no problem. My A1C level is down in the normal range, and my sugar level went down 70 points. So I am no longer classified as a diabetic. And here's the best thing. I've lost 75 pounds. And here's the coolest part of all of it. I'm not done. I am so excited. This company just started a new Physique 90-day transformation challenge, which I joined. And so please follow me on Facebook and encourage me. I can use all the help I can get, but I'm going to lose another 25 pounds in this 90 days. And I'm going to look and feel even better than I do now. So I'm super excited about that. But what I want you guys to know, before I close out here is I was lucky that I had somebody who loved and cared about me enough to share these products with me because they really changed my life. Well, actually, they really saved my life because I wouldn't be where I am today without my sister sharing this with me. And what's really unique about this is every single person in this room had somebody that cared and loved you enough to share this with you today. So whatever your reasons, whether they be financial or medical or emotional or social, all I got to tell you is just don't wait like I did. Just jump in, get started, because these products, this company, these people, we got you.
Ooh, I knew I was going to cry too. Isn't that awesome? That is another one of my whys right there. This is another life activated. So our next guest speaker today is Gabe Pearson. He and his beautiful wife, Jill, came up from Jacksonville early this morning. So thank you both for coming out. Gabe and Jill are Master Pro 10s in the company. I'm going to tell you guys what that means. They worked hard. They have changed thousands of lives, right, over their career. So Gabe is a beautiful mentor, and Jill, they're just amazing. But I want to take Gabe back, 9.5 years ago? And I want to hear the story. I want to hear the real story of why you became part of LifeVantage.
Thank you. Who got hit hard financially in 2009? Well, I'm right there with you. I owned a wellness company. We lost 3 six-figure contracts in 30 days. Literally brought us to our knees. Financially, you can say we're on the wall of worry. And it's kind of interesting, when one door is actually shutting, it wasn't completely shut, but it was shutting. And another one opened, and I was asked to be a keynote speaker in Atlanta. I went up there to speak to a large corporate group about what I do. And I told Jill, I says, hey, I go, maybe we can kind of retool, maybe I can drum up new business. So I went up there with that intention. And after my keynote, a complete stranger literally had the courage to walk up to me and ask me if I've ever heard of a product called Protandim. And folks, I tell this to everyone. If there wasn't 8 to 10 people waiting in line to speak to me behind her, there's a good chance I could have turned around and walked away from her. In the 30 plus years I've been in the fitness industry, I've never endorsed a product. And at that moment in time in life, this wasn't going to be the first. But the next thing that came out of that woman's mouth literally retired us from the fitness business 22 months later. And that was, would I be willing to watch a 9-minute video on an ABC primetime investigative report? And that was my hook. And I actually said this sarcastically to her. I go, you mean to tell me that ABC News, they actually did a positive spin on a dietary supplement? You know what those investigative reporting programs like to do, right? They like to poke holes in it. And so that was my hook. So I get back home to Jacksonville. I'm watching this video, and the precise moment, this world-renowned scientist, who, by the way, I've never heard of before, gives John Quinones, who obviously I've seen many times on that show, his blood test results. I'm elbowing my wife. I'm like, honey, this is history in the making. This hasn't happened yet. And if we can validate this, I think we might be onto something. Just completed some work with the Mayo Clinic. So since I've never endorsed a product and I was protecting my name was synonymous with fitness for 30 years. And the last thing I needed was have those 30 years come crumbling down, put my name on some hokey product, right? So I went to those guys, and when they validated this product for me, actually what really got me thinking was I asked them this question. If you were going to put your name on a product, where would you go to validate it? And not one of those doctors sent me to the University of Google to get my information. And this is a learning moment, folks. If you're hearing this for the very first time, always remember this. When it comes to your health, never Google it. All right. I promise you, if your doctor's trying to figure out what's wrong with you, he or she is not Googling it. You don't want, to get the opinion of some whack jobs out there that are bloggers, right? Your doctor will go to the National Institutes of Health, and you heard Dr. Goodman's plural, both of them, say that several times. And that's where the Mayo Clinic doctors sent me. They go, Gabe, it's real simple. Just type in the name of this product. And if you get a hit, we would like to know a little bit more about it. So when they validated this for me, that's all I needed. I'm a fitness guy, can get you in shape, right? I didn't go to one of the top medical schools in the country to be a Mayo Clinic doctor. So I'm very practical. I go, if it's good enough for those guys, I don't need to validate what's already been validated. So I put all my energy and all my time learning how to become a professional in this business. And always remember this, amateurs practice until they get it right. Professionals practice until they can't get it wrong. There's a big difference between the two. And my driving factor, the reason why Jill and I did this business, God's honest truth, was to make $2,200 a month to keep our 2 children in private school, because I didn't have the stomach to go to my 9-year-old and my 6-year-old and look at them right square between the eyes and says, Mommy and Daddy can't afford for you to go to Riverside Presbyterian Day School. That was my major motivating factor. Never in a million years, folks, would I've ever thought 22 months later, we are writing our last payroll check. And by the way, this August will be 8 years ago. So really listen hard to these experts that are up here today. Do what I did. Try to find a reason not to do this. And if you actually try to do that, you won't be able to find it, and just jump onto an incredible team.
Thank you, Gabe. I love that. There's so many whys. Why? I'm so excited to introduce this next couple. This is Kim and James Landers. They are all about heart and giving and love and joy and all the things that are awesome. They live a crazy busy life, right? 4 beautiful children, and they are both distributors with LifeVantage. So Kim and James Landers, would you mind sharing your why? Why did you get involved with this company?
Good morning. Good morning. It is such a blessing to be here. Why? The journey into this company was not, it was not like the next step on our little board map of life, like Chutes and Ladders or Monopoly. I mean, it was not the next step for us. Society says that you go to school, you graduate from high school, you go to college. And then after college, you get a job in the field that you've just spent 4 years getting education and training on. Or if you're a doctor, a lot more years than that. And so for me, the internal conflict was knowing that school, college, I went to school, I'm a teacher, currently a stay-at-home mom, but I had all of these society norms on one hand, and then on the other hand, our family was struggling. We were struggling emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And never in my wildest dreams would I have any, I could not have written this script. I didn't even see it coming. Debbie and Dr. Goodman take care of our 4 children. And on this journey, Debbie had been saying, you know, I really feel like this might be something for you. And at the time, it really wasn't the next right step. It didn't click. Science was not my thing. I didn't understand it. And the words were just too big. And so when your child struggles and you're watching it unfold, there comes a point in life where you realize you got to get over yourself. So you're not a stumbling block to their next right step. And that's exactly what I did last January. I said, okay, I'm the guinea pig. Lander's guinea pig number 1. I'm going to try the product. And within a week, I personally felt like there was just life coming back into me. What many don't know is I was kind of teetering with going back to part-time teaching. I was going to do it from home. We have 4 kids. My husband travels most weeks, Monday through Friday. So I'm single most weeks. I'm the one in charge of managing the house, managing the car, managing the rental, managing everything. And when you have to go to work, you have to then pick when your child's sick. Are you going to be loyal to work or are you going to be loyal to your home? And so after a week on the product, I told James, I said, I want to do this. I want to do this. And so February 1st of last year, we put the whole family on the products and we just became an activated family. Had I not, if I had gone with the society norms, gone with what I knew, what felt comfortable, I would have missed the biggest blessing of our life. Not only has this company and these products helped us in the physical realm, but the sense of community. We all need to feel like we belong. And with that, there's, I don't even know if Laura knows this or not, but one of the biggest, when Debbie had her Jeep party and we were celebrating Debbie earning her Jeep, I have 4 kids. They're not well behaved all the time, right? So the film crew was there. They were filming and I'm like, oh my gosh, my kids are not necessarily doing what they need to do. Debbie's like, oh, it's okay. It's okay. I love it. I'm like, I don't. And Laura said to me, she said, Kim, if anybody understands this, we all do. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have to make excuses. I get to be me around everyone. And so just becoming and being real, being authentic. So up on the screen. Yeah. This picture, okay, that's my dirty laundry. So coming into this business, I decided our washing machine broke, or the dryer, one of them. 4 kids, 4 animals. We have a lot of laundry. And so I decided one day to really get real with life. I was doing a little giveaway, little free bottle of Protandem, and I had people guess how many pounds of dirty laundry I had, because I was going to take it to the laundromat and they weigh it, and that's how they charge you, by the pound. Anybody want to guess how many pounds you think that is? Somebody said 30. Oh, no. 115. Okay, 150 pounds of dirty laundry. 150 pounds. But you know what that showed me? When I decided to show a part of my life that normally is not Facebook pretty, right? People related to me. And so, just like my dirty laundry, the internal dirty laundry, not dirty laundry, because we're not dirty individuals, but our internal struggles, that is the very thing that people relate with. And when they relate, you spark hope within them. And that's really what people are looking for, is hope. You want to add it? I've talked a lot. I didn't let my husband share.
I do get the opportunity to speak every now and again. She is actually a wonderful spokesperson, not only for the products and the company as a whole, and how it's changed our life, but she's just a spokesperson for how it has changed our household. The 150 pounds of laundry, it was real. I put every bag on the cart, so we actually had it really weighed. But that is life, and that's the reality that she mentioned. I travel for a living, and being somebody that wants to be home and be around our 4 children, I look outside of an airplane window at night when I'm flying, and I see baseball fields. I see the schools all lit up. And for some, it's an escape. But for me, it's like, that's where I should be. I love what I do. I love what I do. I love what it has provided for me. But when your wife comes to you and says, this has made a significant difference in the first week that I've been taking on, you're like, let's go. When your wife comes to you and says, this has made a dramatic difference in my life, I want to do this. Fellas, don't hold her back. Don't hold her back. Give her the gas that she needs and say, baby, go do what you need to do. And you want to talk about a workhorse. I've watched this woman change significantly, personally and professionally. And it is a life changer. So it has truthfully affected our whole family. We've got a community that we truly adore and enjoy being with. So thank you, Debbie.
I just want to say one more thing, because I do talk a lot. Growth doesn't happen overnight, y'all. I use this analogy and I feel like it makes perfect sense. And this was in our emotional, spiritual, and physical journey. Growth is like standing and looking in the mirror and watching your hair grow. You know it's happening, but you can't necessarily watch it grow unless you're going to stand there for a really long time. So you got to be patient. Our bodies are not made to just regenerate overnight. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you guys. You know what, Suzanne and I were just talking about that last night. Transformation takes time, right? So I'd love to introduce our next speakers. April and Bobby Wagner came all the way up from Orlando. The minute I met these people, I fell in love. These are people that are true and honest and good, and they do what is right. What I love about them, and they've been great mentors for me, is learning a little bit about the business and network marketing. I've heard across the whole panel, we've all had obstacles or stumbling blocks. And, with me in medicine, hearing that word, network marketing, I wanted to take a little of a detour. And I remember talking to Dr. Gibbon about this one day because I felt led to be involved. He said, Debbie, you network with people all day, every day, and you're sharing something wonderful. So Bobby and April, I'd love to get a little input on where you've been, because you've been involved doing this for a long time, right? So if you could just, in a few minutes, give us a little bit about your history and your why.
Thanks. We're super excited to be with LifeVantage. It's only been about a year and a half now, so that's super exciting. But wanted to take you back to some of our early days of our challenges early on. Anybody have challenges when you get started? A lot of things. They can be time, they can be money, and we heard a lot of great product testimonies. But ours was truly money. Bobby had a picture frame factory that actually wound up going bankrupt. He didn't get his receivables, and if you don't get paid, you can't pay others. And so that may not seem like a big thing, but I was already working full time, and we had one child, a toddler, and we were just having our second baby, brand new. In fact, he was maybe about a week old, I think, when we got in the business. So he was real tiny, but I was in construction. So I don't know if anybody's ever been in construction. So I didn't really have a desk job, or I wasn't really just sitting around. So it was really hard raising these kids. We were fortunate that we did have a nanny in the house, but when you lose one salary, and early on it's in our 30s, we were living on everything. I don't know if you've ever done that when you're young and you're making, it doesn't matter how much you're making, you tend to live on everything you're making at that point. So it was a huge thing. Bobby has, as I do, we have high school diplomas. I mean, we don't have any fancy college degrees. So there weren't a lot of options for him to do other than to start another business. And this industry allows you to start your business on very little amount of money to get started in a business compared to a traditional business when you think about it. He used to have picture frame stores, and it was, $60,000 for just the shelves and the rugs and the stuff. And when you think about the upstart here, it's worlds apart. So, luckily we were able to get involved in a business where we had a mentor. There's a whole story behind that, but I know we only have a few minutes. But, being bankrupt, childcare, if you're raising children, that's a lot. Working, because I couldn't quit right away, but I did quit after 4 months. And what it has done for us in that time were so many things that we weren't even focused on. One of the things we didn't realize is that he was working 80 hours a week. Obviously, I was working a lot of hours, but he really did not see our first child grow up for the first 4 years that he was around. He was gone in the morning before that child got up, and he came home after that child was in bed. And so, we look at the relationships of particularly, you said just the other day, our little one who's 23, he's not really little, but he's 23, almost 24 at this point. But the relationship, since we both have been around him all the time with all the baseball travels, all that time we spent, not a day goes by that he doesn't call us, not a day. And I hear from so many other parents that they're like, oh, they go off to college, they don't call me, I don't hear from them. And so we have led such a blessed life. It started rough, but plus we get to work together, which is, we were in school together. So he went his way and I went my way when we got married, but now we get to spend time together. So a lot of benefits, but I know we only have a few minutes, so I'm going to let you talk.
Say, I did good, didn't I? Look at that. Didn't I do good? Gabe said something earlier, and I want to share. I understand the skepticism, even though I didn't have it. Okay. I was looking to replace the salary that I lost when receivables didn't come in. And thanks to April, she made me get on the phone with somebody and talk to this gentleman who offered to be a mentor. And I'm going to ask you the two questions that he asked me. Okay. He had gone from being a truck driver to a multimillionaire, and he had helped over 500 people earn over $1 million, and 11 of them were earning over $1 million per year. Okay. Now, it was kind of funny. We grew up, you can probably tell from the voice, we grew up in New York. Okay. We haven't been in Florida and the South our whole lives. Okay. This gentleman grew up in Tennessee. So to me, he was just a redneck truck driver that didn't know anything, and I was a New Yorker. And if you're from New York, you know what I mean. Okay. That's just how it is. And he asked 2 questions, and I'm going to ask this of you. What do you need? You've heard all of this. Okay. Everybody had a need. Ours was financial. It wasn't health related. It wasn't child related. It wasn't medical related. It was financial. Okay. I lost the business. And if I didn't find a way to replace the income, we were going to lose the house and cars and everything else. Okay. So it was financial for us. That was just as important to us as the health stuff was. They're equal. Okay. It just depends on what mess you're in. Okay. But they're equal. Okay. They're the same. So this is what the gentleman said to me. He said, Bobby, what do you need? And I said, I need to replace my income. I said, I was making about $90,000 a year and I need it. We're living on it. My wife's salary and mine. And he says, okay, well, we can take care of that. He says, but here's what I really want to know. What do you want? And do you know, now I grew up in a blue collar family. My dad was a policeman. April's dad was a mechanic. As typical blue collar as you could get. High school educated, no college, none of that stuff. I turned the police department down when I took the test. Okay. They asked me to go in, but I've always been an entrepreneur. I always liked to work. I hated school. Okay. And I wasn't going to follow my father's footsteps just so I could be a cop because he was a cop, although I love cops. Okay. That wasn't going to fulfill my financial interest or my entrepreneurial spirit. So when he asked that question, that was the first time in my life that someone ever asked what I wanted. You know what I wanted? I wanted to earn a 7-figure income. I wanted to live the way some of the people on Long Island were living. I liked living by the water. I'd like to drive a nice car. I'd like to have a boat. I'd like to travel. I'd like to put my kids in a nice private school. But nobody ever asked. And he asked, and I said, I'd like to earn a 7-figure income because I knew all of those things would go with it. And you know what he said? He said, well, if you give me 5 years, I'll teach you how to do it. Now think about it. Okay. I didn't get on the phone to hear this crap. Okay. Honestly, I to get preached to by a redneck Tennessee truck driver. I mean, come on. That's not why I got on the phone, man. I'm trying to figure out how to get a mortgage payment made. Back then, if you fell 3 months behind, they'd come put a sticker on your door. That 4th month, you were done. You're out. Now they'll let you live there a couple of years. They don't care. It's like, just keep the electric on, mow the lawn. You can just stay, they don't care. Okay. It wasn't like that back then. You're laughing. It wasn't funny at the time. It's funny now. Okay. But I'm saying that because you want to know where it started. Okay. That's where it started. But here's what happens. And you heard it from everybody here today. When you make a decision to accept an opportunity, your why is your why. Okay. You did it because whatever exists today. But here's the secret. That's not the only thing that happens. See, when you open that door and you're willing to start the journey, you're opening the door for everything to happen, not just what your maybe minuscule reason was. And I'm not making light of anyone's reason, but mine was to make $90,000 a year. Our team in that old company did over $200 million in business. Okay. At an average commission of 7 to 8%, you figure out what we earned. Okay. See, that happened because we had a need to replace a $90,000 salary. We didn't join to do that. And if you had told me that was going to happen, I wouldn't have believed you anyway. Okay. But that's what happens in this business. You hear Gabe wanted to keep his kids in school. I don't blame him. Our youngest went in private school, and I know what that did for his baseball career. Okay. I understand what that did. He had 3 professional coaches mentoring him, and that led to a scholarship and him being scouted by pros and everything else. If that's private school didn't happen, the rest of it don't happen. Okay. But they went on to build a business that does more than $1 million a month in revenue. I don't think it would have taken $1 million a month to come up with $2,000 a month, huh? I think that's like more like Pro 3, Pro 4 money, right? It would have covered that. See, that's what happened because they said yes. You know, we had a chance to take our kids all over the world, by luxury cruise ship into 30 different countries all over the world because we said yes. Think about that. So we didn't start that way. We started because we had an entrepreneurial spirit and a financial need. The rest of it evolved as we evolved. And that's what's going to happen to you. But you got to say yes. And then you got to say, I'm never going to quit. Yes, and I'm never going to quit. Okay. And if you do that, look, it's been, I guess, 16 months, right? Because we started around the same time. You know, we're getting close to Pro 8. I'm getting a little aggravated. It's taking a little longer than I thought. Okay. 7 happened much quicker. Okay. So are you a little aggravated, Deb? Okay. Can you relate? Okay. I've just had it with the 7 crap. Okay. Really, I have. Okay. That's just got to change soon. Okay. But, you know, we're excited about where we are, but we're more excited. And when our old company closed, you want to hear about crap happening? Do I have another minute? One. Can you imagine spending 25 years with a company and one day they call you and say, we pulled the plug, we're closed? That's what happened to us 16 months ago. Okay. And out of all the companies in the world we could have joined, we picked this one. God picked this one. That was the door that God opened. Okay. God picked this one. So say yes and never quit.
Thank you so much. How incredible is this? We get to hear real life stories, people who really just developed this passion or had the passion or move this way. Okay. And you know what? These are real lives that have been touched by this company. I am a registered nurse. I would have never in my life ever thought I would do anything like this. I have been in medical sales for 15 years. And within 16 months of getting involved with LifeVantage, I was able to walk away and stay home with my Emma Grace and be a stay-at-home mom for the first time. Now that my kid's in college, I don't know, it's kind of a good deal. I don't know, send them to college and then become the stay-at-home mom. But, you know, this has changed so many lives, and you too can have that same changed life. So I'm going to have, if we could give them an applause. Thank you guys so much for sharing your stories, your heart, your passion. I'm going to invite Gabe up to speak to you guys. I think this is so important to hear because if you don't know anything about network marketing like me, I didn't have a clue. I didn't even know what I was doing. You know what? It helped my family. I called Debbie and I was like, why are you guys not selling this? And she and Dr. Goodman had to have a talk about it. You know, they have a busy practice. I'm like, I'm going to sell it. Hello, I'm going to sell it. Y'all are going to get on board with me. We're going to sell this to everybody. It's not selling. We're sharing. We're sharing hope. We're sharing stories. But there's so much more to that Gabe has taught me. And that's about the business. And it's real critical to know how the business works and why it's so important to get on board with a company at such a critical time. So Gabe, you have like maybe 7 minutes to do this for me. Okay.
I'll hurry. Our family, like their family, I mean, I was a network marketer's worst nightmare for 30 years, folks, because I listened to somebody who failed in this industry. At 24 years old, I wasn't smart enough to go to someone like Bob and April Wagner that are professionals in this industry and get their spin. So most of you that have heard horror stories about this industry, you're hearing it from someone who failed. I would never go back to traditional business for the rest of my life because I spent 30 plus years in the fitness business, pretty successful at what I did. And the word retirement was nowhere on the horizon, right? I mean, I'm trading time for money. I'm going to say that again. I'm trading time for money. How's that working for all of you? Now we're working on generational wealth. We are literally working on my 19-year-old Nadley's future to be finished before she gets out of college. So if anybody has an opportunity that is, you know, I have a business that does over $1 million a month that costs me as little as $40 a month to operate. you've got my ear for 1 minute. Okay. Now, something that's critical about this business, Warren Buffett says this: if you're going to get involved in network marketing, you get involved before the wave, not during the wave, and certainly not after the wave. And I think he knows a little bit about this industry. One of his most profitable companies is Pampered Chef. And probably half of you have some pots and pans in your kitchen from that company. Okay. So I want to talk about timing, how important timing is. Just by the show of hands, how many people invested in Microsoft in 77, 78, or 79? How about Facebook? We all thought they were whack jobs, right? We had this long-haired hippie guy named Bill Gates operating out of a garage, and he said every household's going to have a computer in it. We thought he was crazy, right? Well, if we invested $1,000 in Microsoft in 77, 78, or 79, you're worth millions and millions and millions and millions today. Microsoft was right at the bottom. See that star right there? Right at the bottom, the formulation period. It's all about timing, folks. The infancy stage. That's exactly where this company is. We might be just ahead of that. But how many people have heard of companies like Herbalife, Mary Kay, Amway? Every time you mention those companies, a light bulb goes off in your head, right? Because they're branded. In this industry, it's called critical mass. They've hit critical mass. In traditional business, they're branded. Now, if I mention to you LifeVantage, you kind of have a shoulder shrug, right? What's that? Never heard of that. That's the opportunity, folks, right? So what I want you to understand, there's an S curve that every company in the world goes through. I don't care how small or how big. And when you hit what's called branding or critical mass in this industry, it's when the company is doing $600 million in revenues per year. This company is just a little over 200. Now, 80% of the market share is when the company goes through momentum, like Microsoft did, like Uber has done, like Facebook. I can go on for every company in the world. You want to be on this end, folks, not the back end. It's not too exciting to go to a brokerage house Monday morning and buy $1,000 worth of Microsoft stock today. What are you going to get? 3 or 4 or 5 shares? I think you missed the boat. So what I want you to understand, it would be equivalent to something like this. In the real estate business, it's location, 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 right? In this business, it's timing, right? So the last phase of timing is stability phase. Like companies like Microsoft, they're growing 2 to 4% a year. I have never, when I got involved in this business and I became a professional in this business, I don't address it as stabilization. I address it as too late phase. Find yourself another opportunity. And folks, you can read this until the cows come home. You will find one opportunity before the age of 35 that could potentially change your life. And you can find one opportunity after the age of 35 that can potentially change your life. I've witnessed it just in the last 4 years. Little Jill and I, right? She's a video producer. I'm a gym guy. We've had the fortunate to be able to, retire 25 families in the last 4 years. Think about how powerful that is. To be able to hear someone's story like that is absolutely, it's crazy. And what this industry is doing right now, we're the second largest industry in the world. Okay. The numbers of 2018 haven't came out yet, but they're looking at 220 billion. This industry have been growing multiples of tens of billions each year because of actually what we're doing right now. We are broadcasting internationally. Hi to all our friends in the Netherlands and Germany and the United Kingdom and Australia, right? Not to mention the East Coast as far as the West Coast. Because the advent of the internet, we can be in the confines of our own home and build a multi-million-dollar a month business. Think about that. It's absolutely insane. So as you heard everyone up here tonight, we all started this as a side hustle. I started it as making $2,200 a month. If that lady walked up to me in Atlanta and had a crystal ball and says, Gabe, this is where you're going to be 22 months from now. I love to play blackjack, all in, right? I would have lost everything because in my mind at that time, there's no way I would ever have left the fitness business. I was the guy that says, I don't care how much, money I make. Well, when you hit Pro 8 and we have an income disclosure statement, I'm saying, what fitness business? And folks, that was nearly 8 years ago. And our business has grown 5 times bigger than that. And what scares the living daylights out of me is in the next 3 to 5 years, every household in this country will have heard the terms, what you heard today, nutrigenomics, the activation of pathways, biohacking the aging code. And guess what? We're first. This is not a Me Too product, folks. Listen to me very carefully. This is not a weight loss shake that has a flavor of the month that lasts about 50 days, right? You heard what the doctor said today. Every single person that you know breathes oxygen. They eat food. We have the luxury of living in the South. We're out in the sun, right? Those are just 3 ways of how and why you age on a cellular level and a major contributing factor of how you get diseases. And we have something that no other product can do is slow that process down by 40%. So I'll close with this. Think about the business that you're in right now. What if there's no competition? Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? That's what we're so excited about because that's what we have. Now imagine having no competition in whatever business you have, and then you have ABC News knocking on your door Monday morning and says, hey, listen, we've been hearing nothing but great things about your business. We would like to do a positive spin on it. Would it help you grow your business a little bit? There's not a company in the world, folks, that wouldn't want that advertisement. That's what we have. So all Jill and I have done to get to this top of the company, being our first time ever in this business, is point, guide, direct, summon to an ABC primetime news piece, and then we put them on the phone with somebody smarter than us. Can all of you do that? Then you can do this business and you can become a master pro 10 of this company. So thank the person that invited you. They thought enough of you. You have all the right list of ingredients that we're looking for. It's credibility, it's integrity, it's trustworthiness, it's knowing how to build a business, right? And what we do together collectively is we all work together. So always remember this: teams win, individuals lose. So in this industry, you cannot get what you want until you help enough people get what they want. So when you start looking at income disclosure statement and see where Bob and April Wagner is, and see where Deb Zito and her husband is, and Abby and where we are, don't value us by the amount of money we're making. That's not fair. Value us by the amount of people we've helped to be able to get to where we are. That's the world of networking. So folks, actually, we're not in the business of selling pills. We're in the business of building a network. Always remember this: the richest people in the world build networks. Everyone else has a job. Thank you.
Thank you, Gabe. Okay. LifeVantage, right? It's about changing lives. That's what we heard here today. Whether it's an emotional change, a physical change, financial change, whatever it is, LifeVantage is changing lives. And you know what? I'm so thankful. I, in medicine, love what it's doing for people. That's my passion. My passion has become my purpose, and I've been blessed because of it. And I'm so thankful. So we thank all of you for joining us this morning. We're going to close up the presentation today. Thank you for all of those that are joining us internationally, those of you that drove up today. We're going to be available afterwards to answer any questions. We're going to have Dr. Goodman and I are going to be up front. If you have any specific science questions, I want everybody to think about where you fit in for LifeVantage. We have Gabe and Jill Pearson and Abby Drury. They're going to be right in this room outside here. If you're interested in our products or joining our team, whatever your need or want is today, we just thank you for being here today. Thank you for all of our guest speakers. We love you guys and appreciate you. And it's all about being the best version of you. So thank you guys. Have a great Saturday. Oh, Minute to Win It, people. You need to come up and get your prize. We have our physique challenge that my sister Suzanne was talking about. In the back, we have personal trainers to help you if you'd like to join the physique challenge. There are 2 $5,000 prizes available. If you sign up with the physique program today, we have a special gift for you today. Okay. All right. Have a great day afternoon. Thank you, guys.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for attending the virtual training that we put on every month on Saturday morning. Get with the person who invited you to this training this morning. If you're interested in getting on the product, they can tell you how to get on the product. If you're interested in joining the business, getting yourself a LifeVantage ID number and hanging out our coattails, we have these once a month. This is a little bit different of a flair, though. It's mostly training on the monthly virtual trainings. This is more opportunity. But I just wanted all of you to be able to see the production of what this incredible team does to put on an event that has a couple of hundred people here, and half of them are guest folks. So I want to thank all the leaders within our organization for entertaining your teams this morning and getting up early, especially all of you on the West Coast for coffee and bagels. Thank you for coming to this training this afternoon, and more importantly, thank you for attending this event if you are in a different city than Brunswick, Georgia. So my name is Gabe Pearson, and for Jill Pearson, thank you so much. We will see you next month on the first Saturday for another virtual training. Everyone have a great weekend. Thank you very much.